Good morning, church. I wanted to talk to you this morning about that moment before everything changes. That moment when you're in the middle of a situation and you have that brief pause where you're like, I can stop now or I can keep going. My example comes from Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel were the first natural born people of God's creation. Their parents were Adam and Eve, and they were had by natural means. And we all know the story of Cain. Cain is famously remembered because he was the first murderer. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's going to go out and go and murder, and you need to pause on that, but we all give him and others like him a bad name because, murder's so heinous, and it is heinous, but we go on and we think we're not that bad, we're not broken. But Genesis 4, verse 6 and 7, God is speaking to Cain right before he murdered Abel, when he was only angry and he was only jealous of Abel. In verse 6 of Genesis chapter 4, it says, Then the Lord said to Cain, Why are you furious? Why do you look despondent? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. God was telling him, choose to do right and you'll be accepted, because that's what made Cain jealous and angry, was him and Abel both brought a sacrifice to the Lord, and Abel's was accepted and his was not. But it was done out of the wrong heart. He didn't do it rightly. And that's what God is telling him, pursue righteousness. He says, choose to do what is right and you will be accepted. Otherwise, sin is at the door and sin's desire is for you. And God says to Cain and to everyone, we must rule over our sin. Now, Proverbs 21:21 says, the one who pursues righteousness and faithful love will find life, righteousness, and honor. Pursuing sin doesn't lead you to a life of righteousness or honor. Only pursuing righteousness will do that. And I know some are going to say, well, I want to pursue righteousness, but I'm so entrapped by my own sin. I can't help myself. It's just got me entangled. Let me be very clear here. No one is a slave to sin who is in Christ Jesus. This doesn't mean that we won't sin, but it means that we won't have a lifestyle of sin where we continually choose it and we actually enjoy it. When we sin, we will be brokenhearted over it. We are not enslaved to sin, and we have the choice over sin. We've been freed from sin so that we're not enslaved to it. Paul says in Romans 6, verse 6 and 7, he says, For we know that our old self was crucified with him, so that the body ruled by sin might be rendered powerless, so that we may no longer be enslaved to sin. Since a person who has died is freed from sin. My brothers and sisters, do what is right. Pursue righteousness. Don't let sin reign so that you are obeying its desires. And this is what Pastor James was talking about last Friday when he said that we become tools in the devil's toolbox. And so here's my exhortation to you. Romans 6:13b says, Offer yourself to God and all the parts of yourselves to God as weapons of righteousness. God bless you all. You have a wonderful day.